Jay right in your face.
Welcome back to the Faedaway podcast, episode number 20. This podcast is brought to you by the Ball is Life podcast network. My name is Fady. I got my co-host Zaed here with me. Zaed, how you doing, man?
Good, man. I'm doing well. Second episode of the week.
Number 2, little midweek sum.
Working overtime for everybody.
Yeah.
But we've got a very special episode. Our first video.
First of many?
First of many, hopefully. Hopefully we can get back in person and see people in person. But our first video episode, our guest is, she's got a long list of accolades in terms of Canadian basketball and NCAA basketball. Most recently, a NCAA champion. Had a great run with Stanford. So without further ado, let's welcome Alyssa Jerome. Welcome to the Faedaway podcast.
How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much for having me.
No, it's our pleasure. We're so happy to have you. First of all, congratulations on being crowned a national champ. That's got to feel great. Tell us about the last couple of weeks, since it's happened. How's everything been like for you?
Yeah, it's been crazy. I feel like every day it slowly starts to sink in more with every interview and just talking to other people about what a cool accomplishment this is. It's definitely sinking in. But good, we had some time to celebrate as a team, and then everyone kind of got some time at home to relax and stuff. I didn't go home, but it was still really nice to just step away from the bubble, because this season was definitely a bit of a challenge. But yeah.
So, just to let everyone know, where is home for you?
Yeah, so home is Toronto, right downtown.
Let's go.
Toronto's very own.
There it is.
Yep.
Is that where? So, did you grow up in Toronto, or did you move there later on in life when you were playing basketball?
No, born and raised.
Born and raised.
Right downtown. Yeah, went to Toronto public high schools, all my and elementary, middle school. So I'm Toronto through and through.
Yeah, that's exciting. And honestly, what we wanted, the whole idea of this show and what we want to take, the journey that we want to take with it, is to talk about the talent that we have here in Canada. And it's everywhere, and it was everywhere in the Final Four on the men's and the women's division. There were Canadians on pretty much every single team that was playing. So they've come a long way. Canada basketball's come a long way, and honestly, we're just grateful to have you on. Only 3-4 weeks after winning the championship. Yeah. So. Does it feel nice now? There's a nice ring to it. You say I'm a national champion. Does it give you? How long do you say? How long would you say you ride this out? The whole off season, the summer, a year. What do you think?
As long as I can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You deserve it.
I think. Yeah, it's totally like I said, it's still just sinking in. I still don't think I really realize what it means. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm taking it all in.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's just kind of start from the beginning. Take us back to the beginning, I guess, of your basketball journey, the very, very beginning. How old were you? How old were you when you started? How did you fall in love with the game? Was there anybody that pushed you to play, or that you looked at that really inspired you to play? What made you fall in love with basketball?
Yeah, I grew up. I'm really thankful for my parents, because I grew up playing every sport imaginable. And just playing because I loved playing these sports. So I think that's a really big key. And a reason why I still love playing basketball to this day is just because I genuinely really enjoy playing it. But yeah, I think I actually really started to seriously play basketball in middle school. That was kind of the time when I first made Ontario and got to really do more serious training and stuff like that. And then I guess it was either grade 8 or grade 9 was my first exposure to Canada basketball. And that was a huge key to, where I am today, just being involved with that program. So yeah, started off not super young, but again, I think just playing all these different sports and then kind of deciding that basketball was the way I was going to go was kind of how I got into it.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned you played a plethora of sports. When we were doing our research, we found you were a volleyball player, a soccer player, a very good at both as well. And I saw your mom actually played for Guelph. She played volleyball for Guelph.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
Yes.
She wanted me surprisingly to actually go the basketball route, because she always felt like I was a little more, although she was tall, she always thought that I was a little more athletic than she was. And she felt like volleyball you can't really take advantage of that athleticism in the same way you can for basketball. So I'm definitely glad she kind of nudged me towards the basketball route for sure.
Yeah, and that's so interesting. I was gonna ask that as well. Like, was there pressure on you at all to go the volleyball route? But no, she was pushing you the basketball route. So I want to ask you. You mentioned you made Team Ontario in middle school, so that's pretty early. I'd say what, grade 6, grade 7.
Yeah.
So that's pretty young. And did you make Team Ontario? Was it one of those where it's like someone saw you in a gym and they're like, "Wow, this girl's like way better than everybody else," or was that something that you were gunning for personally, like the first time you made it?
I feel like it was honestly, like, I didn't really know what Team Ontario and all that stuff was. So I don't think I was necessarily gunning for it. But I think once I got kind of recognized, there was like, I forget what it was called, CP or something in Toronto, and just like playing with all these really good girls. Like, I think a coach kind of saw potential in me and was like, hey, let's give her a shot. I was definitely very raw at that point, like didn't have great skills, but they saw something in me, thankfully. And then I think once I kind of like saw what was out there and all these other girls that were way ahead of me at that point in terms of their skill level and just the like competitiveness and like excitement of Team Ontario, I was like, okay, I really want to make this team. So it was U14 was like the first Team Ontario team that I made. Yeah.
So what do you think, playing for Team Ontario exposed you to the most, and how was your experience playing with the team? What did you enjoy, and what did you really learn from playing with Team Ontario?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely taught me what to expect. Like, going into it, U14, we had 2-a-days like every day, and it was like, wow. Yeah, it was tough going from like just playing basketball just for fun after school or whatever. So yeah, it was definitely a big adjustment, but I think it really, like I said, kind of taught me about the competitiveness and really kind of honed in on skills and that I needed. And then like going to all these tournaments and stuff. And, Team O is like, I don't know about now, but we're head and shoulders above a lot of other provinces back then. And just like being like elite, like with the girls. And like, I think it really taught me to love like winning, honestly. So yeah,
that's crazy. And to be exposed to such a high level of basketball too. And now Team Ontario, is that additional to like when you're playing rep, when you're playing school? That's additional to all of that.
Yeah,
right?
So Team O is normally in the summer, so it's kind of like, and now I can't really speak to like what it's like, but back then it was like the equivalent of AAU.
Okay.
So we go to like a couple tournaments in the States every year, and then do like nationals or whatever, and have training camps along the way. But then during the school year, I would play for like NT Huskies is my team, North Toronto Huskies. And then high school or whatever as well.
Yeah, interesting. So I want to ask you one more thing about like the 3 sports thing. So which one was your first love? Was it basketball, or did you love another sport before basketball?
So I started playing soccer first, and I started playing soccer competitively first. So I would say that was probably my first love. But then kind of as I got acquainted with basketball, I realized that I think basketball was going to be more special for me.
Interesting.
Not a bad choice at all. Now, do you feel that Team Ontario set you up to play for Team Canada, or what was kind of maybe the recruitment process like to play for Team Canada?
Yeah, definitely. I think when you play on a provincial team and with a provincial program, it's like you're in the system, so they know about you, and the Canada basketball like staff would come to some of our like tournaments and games and practices, so they kind of get their eyes on you. And then I think through the provincial program is kind of the main way that I myself got like recruited to Canada basketball, for sure.
Yeah. Now, speaking of recruitment, I want to talk to you a little bit about the big recruit to Stanford. Obviously now you guys are national champions, but before you had even committed to the school, I want to hear from you. What was that year like for you when you were like, okay, I got to figure out now, what am I going to do next year? I need to commit somewhere. Did you have offers early on in high school? Were you someone that you had to wait till your senior year, grade 12 to get it? Like, what was your process like with regards to the NCAA recruitment?
Yeah, it all kind of just like happened, honestly. Again, kind of like Team O, it wasn't really something that like I had aspirations of doing like from a really young age, but kind of once I started getting this kind of recognition and teams reaching out, I was like, okay, I think this is something really cool that I want to do. That year is so hectic, like junior year of high school. I don't know how I did it, like especially, studying for ACTs, which it's different in Canada because it's not like taught in school in the same way it is for the States, because it's not something everyone takes. So doing that, doing high school, which is just so crazy busy, playing basketball, and then like recruiting on top of that, it was definitely really busy. But yeah, it was a really cool year, just meeting all these coaches and learning about their programs and stuff. So yeah.
So who are the contenders that, could have got your talent, and what overall, or what in the end made you choose Stanford?
Yeah, so going into it, I really cared about school all throughout like high school, and so did my parents. And so I think I didn't want to settle for a school that didn't have like as good of an academic program as a lot of the great Canadian schools. So that was like a big driver. And so I looked at like a bunch of the really good academic schools, like some of the Ivy League schools, and then also, some other schools that are maybe more good at basketball, a lot of Big Ten schools close to home. But like Stanford, you can't, like, it's the best of both worlds. Like it's one of the best academic schools and such a great women's basketball program, and athletic program in general, that it was just like, it was kind of a no-brainer, honestly, once I had gotten in academically. I remember I first got my like first letter from there, and like I said, I didn't really know much about the American college scene, and my mom was like, oh, this is a really cool school, like you're really lucky to hear from them. So yeah.
And I'm not even gonna lie, we also were not aware of how great the program was, and then we had Coach Brittany, one of the assistant coaches, so we were doing a lot of research then, and it's insane, like the history in this program, and one person that stuck out was Coach Tara. And being, we asked her, what's it like coaching with or alongside a legend. But I want to ask you, because especially when you're developing and you're such a young basketball player, coaching is so important. Who you have behind you, whether they understand your game, what your strengths are, how to push you in ways that'll get you there. That is so important to developing players. So can you talk about, Coach Tara and that program and what that's done for you, not just as a player, but as a person as well?
Yeah, I mean, Tara is a really, really special coach. She's been coaching for forever, has the most all-time wins. Like, she's the GOAT for real.
Literally, yes, the GOAT.
So playing for her has been really, really cool. I think Tara, what sets her apart from other coaches is just like her preparation. We go into every game like so prepared, and that's because of her and the like countless hours of video that she spends. And like Stanford's a really big scouting report team, so like we really play players to their tendencies. So that comes from coaching and them just watching video and stuff like that. But I would say just in general, like Tara is a really good coach. She's really good at like finding good combinations of players and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been really, really special to play for her. And, I'm really glad. It's been like 29 years since her last national championship, and she's been so close, like so many times. So I'm just really happy that this year we could bring it home for her. Do
you have like a most memorable Coach Tara moment, whether it be from this tournament or from your time with her?
I don't know. I think it's like the little things. Tara, like, she seems like she's old and boring, but she's hilarious. Like, some of the things she says are just like so out of pocket, like sarcastic. It's really funny. She'll say some really funny things in practice. But yeah, she's just really cool to be coached by, for sure.
Now, when you first got to Stanford and when you first really started playing college ball, did you have a moment where you felt like holy crap, like this is a serious level? Like you said, like you went when you made it to Team Ontario, like I was still raw. These girls are really, really good. What was that moment for you when you first started playing college ball, where you first got to Stanford?
Yeah, it was kind of like that moment of Timo all over again. It's like, oh gosh, this is a whole nother level. Yeah, I mean, I think just even like freshman year, coming in, you're so young and so eager, and then you play against these seniors who are like twice your like strength, and you're like, oh God, okay. So it was definitely an adjustment. Yeah, I mean, now it's crazy to think that now I'm kind of that senior, which is so wild.
So when did you start playing against talent in the U.S.? Like, how old were you when you first were exposed to that? Because that's like, I don't know if it's the same on the women's side, but on the men's side, it's a whole different beast. Like USA basketball versus Canada basketball at a younger level, especially. When did you start? Like, how old were you when you got exposed to that?
Yeah, so my first national team was U16, the cadet team, and it was the FIBA Americas. We played in Mexico, and we actually won gold at that tournament. The U.S. had lost. Yeah, the U.S. had lost to Brazil in the semis, and then we beat Brazil in the finals. And that was like such a cool experience, and I think that's where I got a lot of recognition from American schools too. That's I think where Stanford had first seen me. Yeah, so that like, playing the US, it's like a whole other level. Those girls are like really incredible. But I think that tournament, like early on, my first time seeing them and playing not against them, but in the same tournament, I was like, okay, like we can face up against these girls, So I think that was like a good intro for sure.
Was there ever like a fear factor? Like, were you ever told before you got there, like, oh, they're so much bigger and stronger? Like, because my sister played competitive, like my sister played competitively, but obviously not Team Ontario level, but she did compete and they did go to the States, and like sometimes they got pummeled, and she'll tell you the same thing. So it's like, were you ever like probed before your first time, or were you scared when you got there the first time?
The first time, I don't think so, like going into it. I mean, that USA basketball is great and like these girls are incredible, but I think honestly being a little naive to it like helped us in that tournament, honestly, because we weren't scared.
Yeah.
But then like, playing them, the US girls, they're built different. A lot of them, they're huge, super strong, super tall at a really young age. So yeah, definitely once I started playing them more after that, it was for sure like, oh gosh.
Did you find yourself doing anything different in maybe how you trained or how you practiced or how you played once you got exposed to that level of talent?
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of came with a lot of the like Canada basketball stuff at that point. Then once I kind of got older in high school, I did a lot of like lifting and stuff like that, which honestly really prepared me for college too. And I'm really thankful that I did that. But yeah, just kind of learning to train at like a more serious level for sure.
Let's talk about this season. I know this season was, despite it being a championship season, I know how hard it could have been to actually go through, to actually travel, play against different schools, with all the COVID protocols and all the different measures that they have in place. Talk about, just this season in general and how difficult it might have been or it was to actually play. And what were some of the tedious things that you were like, I got to go through this again today? Or what were the difficulties that you and your team, went through to actually have this season go?
Yeah, I mean, one tedious thing is testing. We got tested at Stanford 9 times a week. So that was like,
goodness.
Yeah, so that was a lot of testing. But I would just say like this year was a huge challenge. Like we had played one home game and then we found out from the county that they were shutting down all like physical activity and organized events. So we couldn't stay at Stanford. So all of a sudden we're like scrambling to find somewhere else that we can play. We end up going to Las Vegas and we stayed there for like 2 weeks. And then we literally like traveled from place to place, playing at these different teams. Santa Cruz, which is like an hour away from Stanford, became our like home court, and we were staying in hotels. I think we were on the road for like over 2 months, almost 3 months. So it was like, yeah, it was a grind. And there were moments where we didn't think the season was going to be possible. And we were like, is it really worth doing all this? It was definitely really exhausting and hard for everyone. So yeah, I mean, that just makes this victory so much sweeter. And honestly, I think it like prepared us for the NCAA tournament in the bubble, because we're like 3 weeks, that's nothing. Like we've been on the road for like 2 months. So we're set. We're ready to go.
That's awesome. No, like, did you guys find that when you're going through the tournament, how does a team find the resilience to overcome not just the things that are happening every single day, like the repeated testing, like the tedious, like you're not really getting a chance to, I don't know, did you guys practice much in the tournament, given the travel restriction, even before the tournament, like on the season? Did you guys get a chance to practice as a unit?
Yeah, I mean, we did practice a lot. Normally, we're used to practicing like on a normal year, 3 hours a day is our practice. It's really long. But this year we couldn't really get 3 hours necessarily because we were in all these different gyms at these different facilities that just didn't have the time for that. But we still definitely practiced. Once we were at the NCAA tournament, it was only an hour and a half a day. But yeah.
So given all these barriers, like where do you guys find the resilience to keep clawing out? And especially like as it got to the end, man, those last two games, like what I felt behind the TV screen is probably like a millionth of what you guys felt being on the court. So where do you find the resilience to just keep pushing through as a team?
I mean, I think it comes down to what we overcame this year. And I think as a group, we just became so close. Like, we loved playing with each other. We loved hanging out with each other. At the tournament, like, we had board games and a ping pong table and all this stuff, and we just couldn't leave the meeting room. Like, we loved hanging out with each other, and this year just made us really close because we were all we had. Like, we weren't on campus with other people. We were in hotels with each other. So we became really, really close, and I think we just wanted to keep playing for each other. You know, we didn't want it to be over. The season was so special, and everything that had happened, like, we just didn't want it to end. So I think that's really what kind of rallied us to keep going and get it done.
Was there a moment at all where you maybe even thought in your head that, like, oh, I don't think this is going to keep on going?
Yeah, halftime at the Louisville game for sure. When we were down like 16, I was like, we can't lose. Not now, the Elite Eight. So yeah, but again, that game, just seeing like how we rallied back and like came from being down so much, I think that just shows like our resilience and how we've had to deal with adversity off the court all year. Like, what's a little adversity on the court, you know?
No, for sure. And what's halftime like for you in that Louisville game? Like, what's being, first of all, what's the team dynamic like? What's the spirit like? And what's your coach saying? Because she's been here plenty of years, so she's been in many of these moments. So I'm interested to hear both sides of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think both like players, us and Tara, like we all knew we were so much better and like we were not playing well. And I think it wasn't even like we feel sorry for ourselves, we're going to lose this game. It's like we need to come out in the second half and play better, like period. And then we'll at least be able to compete in this game. So I think we were honestly really like motivated and inspired to just like get it done, play better. You know, Tara always like it's about winning, but it's also about the effort that you put in. And I think that first half, we didn't show what we were capable of in either of those things. So we knew that we had to step it up. So, yeah.
And you guys did step it up. That was a crazy run. That third quarter. The second half was just insane. You guys came out the gates just crazy. It was a heck of a game. And just I want to hear from you as well. Like, you overcome that, right? And you guys feel great. You're in the finals now, and then you're back in the finals, and then you're right a minute left in the game, and it's again like a really close situation. So what's it going like in timeouts? Like, what are you guys talking about? How do you keep the spirit up? How do you make sure that people on the court are, you know, they're obviously they're going to be nervous, but how do you just make sure that they're as calm as possible?
Yeah, I mean, both the South Carolina, the Final Four game, and then the Arizona game got so close at the end. We like had a chance to lose at both those games. You know, I think we did the best we could in some of those games. Like, I think our Arizona game, truly, we played the worst that we have ever played all season. It was such a sloppy game, but we still got it done. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We just kind of practice all these end game situations in practice like every day, so we're always ready for, you know, what inbound we're going to run and stuff like that. So those little things, and then again, I think it comes back to we just want to keep playing, like, let's win. So yeah,
that's crazy.
Now when the buzzer sounds and you do end up holding the national championship, what's the first thought going through your mind as you realize, you know, you're finally a champion?
I don't know. I think I like blacked out, honestly. But I think it's just, honestly, I think it's relief because, you know, our team, we were a number one seed coming into the tournament, and you always have a target on your back and you have something to prove. And, you know, I think we were the overall number one seed. So whoever beats us, that's an upset. And we didn't want to get upset. So I think it was just relief of like, oh my God, we did it. And like, thank God. Like, it was a great feeling. It was a great feeling.
So one of the pictures that we have up here is both of them, but they're different angles. It's the Kawaii Shot against Philly, and you see everyone's reaction on the baseline. Yeah. So I want to ask you your reaction, because I'm sure you weren't looking around, but when that last shot went up, because you guys were defending that last possession, and that last shot goes up, and what are you thinking? Like, please don't go in, please. You're like huffing and puffing from the bench trying to get the ball. Like, is that what's going on, or are you just like completely blacked out that whole last minute into like post game?
I mean, we all knew the ball was going to Aries. She's an incredible player, and like she had a great look. Like, she didn't even see the basket and it hit the rim. Like, of course she would, right? And so it was just like, I don't know, it was like, please don't go in, defense, 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 and then it missed, and then running on the court. I must have blacked out, honestly. There weren't that many thoughts going through my mind. It was more so stress, probably.
Have you gotten a chance to rewatch the last play, like as a replay?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So we had a bit of an argument on the podcast here because did you see they had a girl in the corner that was wide open that I thought, like when I was watching it in real time, I'm like, if she hits her right there, it's what, like, did you see that in real time or was that something that you noticed after?
It was something that I noticed after. I mean, we sent like 3 players to Aerie.
Yeah.
She can't see over them.
We knew that was where the ball was going. And I mean, I think if Arizona had passed it to any other player and they got an open look, they could have been national champions. But we knew that Aerie was going to be the one to shoot the last shot. That's their team, you know. They're all about Aerie and stuff. So yeah, we were ready to triple team her.
Yeah, our debate was, he was like, yo, she didn't see over the 3 defenders.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, she just wanted that shot.
She was shooting it.
It's a bit of both.
Shooting
It's a bit of both because the way she
3, 4, 5, I don't care. I'm shooting.
The way she took the
and
ball,
she earned the right. She had a heck of a tournament. How does it feel as well? Like just a few weeks after too, a bunch of your teammates got drafted. A bunch of the girls that you competed against got drafted. Like that's crazy. Like everything moves so fast, and
I know.
You gotta like. That's just crazy. What was it like watching your teammates, like people that you competed with, get that, you know, make that next level? It's something that they wanted their whole life.
Yeah, it was so special. I think the draft is just really cool for all these girls going on to the WNBA. I'm wearing a Seattle Storm shirt because Kiana got drafted there.
She was lottery. She was top 10, right? No, I think was she number 7?
No, I think she was top 20.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought she was 7.
But really excited for her. And yeah, I mean, it's just really cool to see where all these girls end up. And now that like they're my age or a little older, I'm just like wondering, I'm so excited for the WNBA season to start and to be able to watch them at the next level.
Let's take a step back a little bit. I want to hear, you know, you stressed how much your parents stressed academics. You loved academics as well as a student. What's the life of a student athlete like on both sides, the athletic side and the academic side? We can imagine how busy it is, having to run between class and practice, class.
Can only imagine.
You can only imagine. So, you know, talk about that. Talk about maybe also getting accustomed to it in your first year there at Stanford.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I think especially at Stanford where the academic expectations are so high, you know, I think that it's a huge adjustment to be able to balance and time manage and stuff like that. But this is another reason why I think Stanford's such a cool place is like there are all these incredible athletes who do such incredible things like in the pool, on the field, whatever, and then also are such incredible students. So you're just like surrounded by all this excellence everywhere that like you just got to do it too, you know, like you know, it's a grind for sure and it's tough, but like you're all in it together. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely an adjustment coming out of high school, but you know, once you're a senior like me, you kind of, it's like a no-brainer at this point.
You're the vet at that point. You know, you got the young kids under your wing.
Right.
It's showing them all around campus in the city and stuff. Would you say that that like all your previous basketball experience, because growing up Team Ontario, you're playing rep basketball, you're playing school basketball, you're playing volleyball, soccer, and you're also maintaining an education. So you were traveling and schooling and sporting at a very, very young age. Would you say that prepared you, that helped you a lot, or was the NCAA just a whole different level of all that?
No, absolutely. I think that high school definitely prepared me. Like high school, if you think about it, is so crazy. Like you're in class from like 8 to 3, and then I had to go to lift, and then I went to practice from like 7 to 10. Like it was insane. Wow. So yeah. I think it definitely prepared me. And in college, you're not in class for as long. I mean, there's definitely a lot more work outside of class, but yeah, I mean, thankfully, because I was so busy in high school, I think it prepared me for college for sure.
Where was your favorite place that you traveled because of basketball?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
You're well traveled.
Yeah, exactly. You've been around the world.
I know. I'm so thankful. I mean, basketball's taken me to like everywhere. I would say A really cool tournament we played in Zaragoza, which is in Spain. That was for the
Nice.
uh, World Championships, I think, like the junior team. And that was a really, really cool trip, just being in Spain. I mean, going to Europe was any time is really special. So that trip especially was really cool.
Before we get into the Team Canada accolades, I want to ask one last thing. Because you mentioned like when you get to Stanford and you're surrounded by so many great people, it puts that little pressure on you. But when you get there, you're also a part of a very historic and great basketball program. Mm-hmm. Did you feel the pressure, maybe not the pressure to bring a championship to Stanford, but that pressure to be on your A game, not just academically, but athletically, making sure you're at every session, you're competing your heart out? Like, is there that pressure because of this, like the storied school that you're at?
Totally. I mean, Stanford, there's a standard, you're top of the Pac-12, you make it far in the NCAA tournament every year. So, I think that standard's a really good thing because our coaches know what's necessary and they'll require that from us. And it's definitely not easy, but winning's the way it goes at Stanford. So you gotta find a way to win.
Yeah. That's gotta be some pressure though. I mean, like, of course you're a part of a great program and they definitely set you up to succeed, but there's still gotta be like, I don't want to be that one team that just didn't do it, right? You never want to be that team.
Totally. Yeah.
So we're gonna list out some of your accolades here for Team Canada. I might need some help because the list is a little long.
It's a long list.
But
I don't even think this is all of it, to be honest.
This is probably just a portion of it. But here, so in May 2017, and I'm not going to say that this is in order because I don't think it is in order. But May 2017, you were the second youngest player invited to camp with the Canadian senior women's national team. You were the youngest player on Canada's senior women's national team roster for an exhibition series in China and Japan in August of 2018. That's got to be cool going to those places.
Yeah, that was I kind of forgot about that one. That was a really cool trip too. China and Japan were really sick. Yeah.
Imagine getting to
There's
a point
too many
where
to remember.
You forget that you represented your country.
Sounds so bad.
No. We're saying that in a good way.
No.
Okay, so you were team captain and tournament MVP at the FIBA Americas U16. That was in Mexico. I think that's the one you said you guys won gold in, right?
Yes, yeah.
And you averaged nearly a double-double. Okay, I looked it up. I think it was 15 and 8 or 9, right?
I don't know.
Do you remember?
Man. That sounds right.
Yeah, I think it was that. It was right there. But yeah, nearly a double-double. So less than 2 weeks later, you were in Chile playing alongside fellow Cardinal Michaela Brewer at U18 FIBA Americas and helped Canada win silver. Finished tournament third in points and rebounds. You want to go with the rest?
Captain Canada to seventh at the U17 World Championships. You averaged 10 and 4 there. You played in both FIBA U17 World Championships in Zaragoza.
Yep.
That's the trip that you had mentioned earlier. And the FIBA Americas U18 Championships in Chile. You captained Canada to bronze at the U19 World Cup in Udine. And another place. I don't know. I'm not going to. I'm not going to butcher the name.
Just say Italy.
You started all 4 games for Canada at the Pan Am Games in Lima, in Peru, in August 2019, and you've represented Canada at 4 FIBA tournaments around the world and 1 Pan American Games. What do you think it is, that you've learned the most from representing your country in so many different tournaments? And not only that, you've captained a bunch. So, by being a captain,
head honcho.
You're the head honcho. You're the leader of the team. What have you learned most about yourself by captaining all these teams as well?
Oh gosh. I mean, I would just say that I can do it. I feel like coming into Canada basketball and programs like that, you're really intimidated because you're around and especially at a younger age, such great players. But then seeing myself succeed and our team succeed, I think that was really exciting. And it just kind of gave me confidence, coming into college and stuff like that. I'm really fortunate to have played internationally and it prepares you immensely, especially on the senior team and playing with those girls who are true professionals. They play overseas professionally or in the WNBA, and just being around them and kind of witnessing how good they are at their craft and everything like that is super inspiring. So there's a lot more to learn for sure.
Yeah. So Alyssa, you've played for a lot of teams throughout your life, whether it be Ontario, several high school, elementary, middle school, whatever the case may be. Is there something about putting on the Canadian threads that is different than every other team that you've played for? Because I hear players all the time say when they represent their country on the national stage in any sport at any level, it's just a different feeling. Did you feel that as well?
Totally, it's different. You know, you hear like the national anthem before the game, like you realize that you're really representing like the whole country of Canada. I think it just comes with like so much pride. And, you know, you're really battling like with your sisters from Canada. It's a really cool experience for sure.
Having played so much international basketball, would you say there's a really big difference between, you know, the international game and playing in FIBA and playing in all these international tournaments compared to, you know, American basketball, American style basketball, and NCAA basketball?
Totally. I think internationally, there's such a broad range of styles of play from like all these different countries. Like every country plays in such a unique and different way. Whereas I think for the NCAA, I think for like every team is different, but I think for the most part, they all kind of, you know, run pick and roll stuff and like, you know, zone and man and like all these different things that it's a lot more similar, you know, throughout all the teams.
I want to ask you, because now you mentioned you're a senior, and Zaed was saying you've captained a lot of teams. You're a leader. You've played a lot of basketball, obviously. Have you considered, or are you considering, coaching as a possible next destination for you, Miss Alyssa? This is your chance to make the case right here. Make the pitch.
Yeah, everyone is always like asking me that. I don't know. I love basketball. I love being a leader. I felt like I was honestly kind of like a fifth coach this year for our team a little bit, especially because the posts, everyone was so young. So having been here and being a senior and being a captain, you know, I kind of took on that role. I don't know. I mean, I definitely love the sport of basketball and stuff like that, but there are a lot of things I want to do outside of basketball too. So I'm a little torn. I can't lie.
Are there next steps for yourself that you have in mind going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely want to pursue like something in medicine at some point. I definitely want to play overseas for a bit too. I still have this extra year of eligibility in the NCAA. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot.
A lot of options.
There's a lot of options. Well, I think that, you know, if you were to find your way into the coaching world, I think that your resume speaks for itself. You have everything that anyone would want, and you are now a national champion. So congratulations to you, Alyssa. We thank you so much, honestly, for coming on the show, sharing your journey with us, putting Canada basketball on the world. I mean, this is on the world stage. This
is the prime example right here.
It's right here. It's what is it? The proof is in the pudding. Is that the expression? Yeah. There we go. So once again, congratulations. Thank you again. It was an honor to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It was fun.
Absolutely.
And for everyone that's listening, you know where to follow us. This is brought to you by Ballers Life. Follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, anywhere. You can DM. You can probably follow us there.
Absolutely.
And we'll catch you guys later.